Jesus comes down to this earth and he walks as a man for 33 years. Just hangs out and walks with us and talks with us and models really what it would look like to live a life on this earth the right way. And in his 33rd year, he goes to the cross and he pays the ultimate price. But it doesn't end there. By the power of the Holy Spirit, on the third day, he is risen from the grave and then spends the next 40 days or so hanging out with these guys, allowing them, the disciples, to touch him, to see him, showing himself to people, saying, I am alive. I'm okay. By the power of the Holy Spirit, he was risen. And for 40 days, he hung out with these guys, and he gave them instructions of what they would do next. And he gave them this promise, that the Holy Spirit would drop, that the Holy Spirit would come, and that it would be better that he leaves and the Holy Spirit too come. And he says, you know what, this will happen, and you'll know when it does. And with that, he ascends up into heaven and takes his rightful place beside God the Father. And moments later, in the book of Acts, we can read about how the Holy Spirit drops on these people. This is Acts 2:2-4. Without warning, there was a sound like a strong wind, gale force. No one could tell where it came from. It filled the whole building. Then, like wildfire, the Holy Spirit spread through their ranks, and they started speaking in a number of different languages as the Spirit prompted them. And guys, I spent some time in Acts this week, and I started to read through this. I mean, picture the force, the power that drops in on these guys like a gale-forced wind. The violence, like the chaos of men speaking all these different languages. The Holy Spirit just unloads on these people. And as we were getting ready to do this last talk in the Holy Spirit series, Ken and I are talking, and it's like, the Holy Spirit does what it wants. I mean, it's not like we can tame that. It's not like we can give you guys a list of 10 things to check off and you'll have the Holy Spirit in your life. No. The Holy Spirit is a power, that the very power that raised Christ from the dead, we don't control that. We don't tame that. All we get to do is allow the Holy Spirit into our lives and allow him to lead. As we sit there and we're taking communion, and it's so beautiful to think about what Jesus did for us on the cross, and you take that bread that represents his body broken for us. You take that juice that represents his blood spilled for us. And I kept thinking about my own walk and how I seem to spend most of my time picturing Jesus that way, hanging on the cross, all tore up because of me. If I close my eyes right now and get an image of what Jesus is, it's this beat up, tore up, shredded man, this warrior king that would wear all my sin and all my shame and be hanging on the cross. And I seem to focus a little too much on that because the story doesn't end there. The God we worship, the Son of God, came and rose from the dead by the power of the Holy Spirit. Our focus should be on that. And as I was reading through Acts this week, I couldn't get over how these guys preached. When Peter would preach, and at the beginning he says, this Jesus who you killed, who you crucified, isn't dead anymore. I touched him, I walked with him, I talked with him, he's alive. And the focus of the whole thing was on life. I seem to spend most of my days, and it's a big part of who we are, to be focused on that blood-splattered cross. But in the early days, that was part of it, but their focus was on the resurrection. Their focus was on an empty tomb. We need to focus on life. As we ended this Holy Spirit series, I thought it was going to be really important that we spend a little time focusing on this one fact. The Holy Spirit produces life. Romans 8:11 says this. The Spirit of God, who raised Jesus from the dead, lives in you. And just as he raised Christ from the dead, he will give life to your mortal body by this same Spirit living within you. Holy Spirit series that I would want you to walk out of here with or hold close. It'll be this one statement, that the Holy Spirit produces life. Let's go back and look at Romans 8:11 again. The Spirit of God, now think about this, who raised Jesus from the dead lives in you. And just as he raised Christ from the dead, he will give life to your mortal body by this same Spirit living within you. You can have that power living inside you. I started to think about this a lot. There's this amazing irony going on in the world today. You see, if the Holy Spirit, it produces life. But many, many, many people all over this country and this world keep pushing the Holy Spirit away because they've decided somewhere along the line that if they allow the Holy Spirit to lead their life, then they're not going to have a life. You catch where I'm drifting to here. The very thing that could actually give them life and produces real life in people's lives is the one thing they keep pushing away. You see, we've decided somewhere along the line that if we let the Holy Spirit lead, then our fun is done and our joy is over. Right? There's no more partying. There's no more going out to the bar scene. I mean, we can't watch rated R movies anymore unless Jesus is in them. There's no more swearing. There's no more gambling. There's no more speeding on the highways. I got to give all my money away and live as this pauper. Basically, I'm stuck in a life of drudgery if I let the Holy Spirit lead. So somewhere along the line, we've decided that the Holy Spirit's going to take our lives away. And the tragedy is, it's the one thing that can give you real life. And if there's one thing that I want to let you in on a little secret, you know what God's up to here in this earth? He's in the restoration business, guys. He's trying to restore our lives. I mean, do you guys really think about why Jesus came to this earth? He tells you in John 10:10 why he came. Check this out. This is Jesus talking. The thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy. But I have come that they may have life and have it to the full. Allowing the Holy Spirit to lead your life doesn't end your life. It begins it. And see, guys, I get it. All the things that you think you got to give up, like, I get it. They're fun. You're going to have a good time in the moment. But let me let you in on something. There's a reason that stuff feels empty. It's because it is. It's a moment in time. And so many of us end up pushing away all of eternity to keep what we got going on right in a moment. Guys, think about what a life filled with the Holy Spirit, a Holy Spirit-led life could be. You would no longer be a prisoner to things that you've been a prisoner to for years. Public opinion, a job title, all that material stuff that you just have to have. You wouldn't need any of it. You just need Him. All those things that you live for and all those moments wouldn't matter because all of eternity would. God isn't trying to end your life by allowing... If you let the Holy Spirit in, you're not ending anything. You're going to have a real life and a real opportunity to live free. This isn't drudgery. It's not. I think so many people get lost in the fact that if they let the Holy Spirit lead, they're not losing their life. They're gaining it. And something we need to focus on today is life. Romans 8:15 and 16 says this. So you should not be like cowering, fearful slaves. You should behave instead like God's very own children, adopted into His family, calling Him Father, dear Father. For His Holy Spirit speaks to us deep in our hearts and tells us that we are God's children.